I'm here with a cat, here to demonstrate first versus third person PMIC camera snap, and a bunch of other stuff that I have about first versus third person, but the cat makes this really funny. When I pet a cat, I'm forced to look at the cat, for better or for worse. I can't change from first to third person, I can't move around, I can't switch I can't like look around until I'm done petting this cat. And this is like a property that's saved as a part of doing this cat animation. However, I can interrupt petting the cat by doing PMIC, which is why I switched to 30 FPS. Because if you open photo mode on the same frame that you interact with this cat, you can move around while still petting the cat. You can like slightly hear it, but the more obvious side effect of it is when it's all said and done, my camera is snapped as if I've just finished the animation over there. PMIC camera snap is undesirable and something that we encounter in speedruns all the time. But the way to avoid it is by switching to third person when starting this, because it won't save the fact that you've done, you know, this animation, and it doesn't save a camera angle because that would be psychotic, because you can look at Pretty Kitty while petting it, I guess. I don't know. But if I do PMIC while in third person, I'm not going to get my camera angle snapped because it's not expecting to do that. There's a couple of other interesting interactions with this that I haven't documented though. So if I do PMIC and then I switch to first person, I didn't start this in first person, so it won't do the camera snap thing. So as long as I was in third person while doing that, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to get the camera snap at the end of it. The more fucked up thing is if I do this in first person and then I switch to third person, it's saved the fact that I was in first person at the beginning of that animation, and so what'll happen is I will get the camera snap and also my first person model. So we can have this opportunity to look at our first person model here, so you can see the arms are parented to the camera. There are arms that give off a shadow, including the head, but they're not there. This character model is a hole in its chest, I guess. And I call this being pissed, although it's just something that I think is funny. I'm sure there's a better way to term it. I mean, first and third is probably the best way. But this shouldn't have any appreciable effect on the game, but we'll get to that. I'm going to reset over here because this gives us a much better idea of the shadows that we're looking at, and shadows are, as it turns out, the only way that I'm going to be able to determine certain things about my character model and understand what the hell is going on, because there are other interactions that are happening. So an intended thing in the game is if I'm turning around, my feet do this little shuffle after sweeping through, I don't know, 60 degrees of movement. So like every time I turn around, I get like 1, 2, 3. It might literally be 60 degrees, I don't know. But if I have my character like flip around instantly, I'll do it just like a single shuffle. Right. If I'm in third person and I look this direction, because if I'm in third person, I can just go around like this. There's no problems with having to make my character face a certain direction. So if I face backwards and then I turn this way, my legs do that really ugly jig while standing still. I hate it, and now you know that it exists. Have your legs unravel as well. Yeah, so have fun with that. The other thing, which you may have just noticed because I accidentally did it, is when you're going left and right, my torso determines what direction I'm sort of facing. And it's not a perfect system. Like, look at how my legs are like interacting with the ground. Not excellent. But hey, it's a hacky solution, fine, whatever. So if I go left, my torso faces left, and if I go right, I face right. And it's actually like diagonal up right and up left, but whatever, you get what you get. If I go backwards, it picks a direction, but it's dependent on your camera angle because there really is no direction to going backwards. So if I hold directly backwards and I slowly sweep through the directions, you can see how my shadow flickers because it keeps making decisions about which direction my model should face. This is awful. I hate it. I don't think it has like any appreciable effect on the game, but watch me be wrong. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to use your shadow for this. You can also look at the legs. Legs do the flickery thing too. So why am I documenting all of this? I thought first versus third person didn't really make that much of a difference on things, but it might. I'm still working on that, and that's why I'm documenting everything here. So basically, how do I interact with items while I'm in first versus third person? A thing that I know is that if I'm far enough away from an object while in first person, like I can't grab it anyway, in third person you can still grab it, but it's like only parts of it. Like I can't grab the lower corner, but I can grab the upper corner. And like if I tap slightly back, it's as if that sphere of interaction slowly shrinks centered around that corner. It's very odd. But it does extend with the things that you can interact with, although I don't know how much this matters for human people who are running at cubes. Like, am I really going to be able to grab this cube a frame earlier? Who knows, right? The worst thing about this is that if I'm in third person, I can drop this cube based on where I'm pointing, right? Is this really a... Let me see if I can do this in shadow. Yeah, there we go. So, like, it doesn't matter what my character model is doing, which, by the way, the idle animation, you can see me, like, wobbling around as if I'm a little bit woozy. It does not matter if I'm in third person where I can place this cube. I can place this cube based on where I'm facing within reasonable radius, right? If I'm in first person, that bobbing animation makes a huge fucking difference because it is tied to my camera, right? You can see how the placement of this is like even affecting the angle of the cube ever so slightly, which means that there is probably not a super consistent way to have any setups for placing cubes down. Like you can't precisely place a cube down at position X because, okay, let's say I jam myself into this corner and I'm gonna place the cube down here. You can see how it's different because I have this drunk wooziness to me. Whereas if I'm in third person, it'll be the same result depending on where my camera is facing. So that's something that actually like fucking matters because now I'm starting to have to place cubes in third person when I'm doing N3 single cube setup because the cube placement actually fucking matters because it's that precise. I'm losing my mind slightly, which is why I'm making this video so that I don't have to do an NPNL run. But it made me think about whether or not it's actually going to matter, you know, the interaction between first and third person, and whether this camera nonsense like this little swippy here actually matters. It's something that I've noticed before when going backwards. Like I think it affects my camera model in third or first person. I don't know. I still need to work on that a little bit. All I know is there's some fucked up shit to do with first versus third person that may actually like be actionable, and that's why I'm documenting everything I know just in case I get hit by a bus or something. Yeah, I'm just gonna upload this and pretend like having an 8.5 minute video on first versus third person's healthy. Let's go, dude.